let's go make our Starlight quilt block. But first, always remember to share this so it was saved to your profile and you can find it when you're looking for it again later. Our cheat sheet says to cut squares for half square triangles at 5 3/8 and to cut squares at 5 inches. Now I know I need 4 squares because there's 4 solid squares here. And then I need 12 squares for my half square triangles because if I count this 2, 4, 8, 12, then that's what I have. And these are the colors that I've chosen. So the first thing I'm gonna do is lay my half square triangles together. Pretty side to pretty side. I'm laying my colors next to my solids. It's not really solid, it's this pretty blue that I've been using, but it's so pretty. I'm gonna lay these pretty side to pretty side, and I'm going to straight stitch down this side. Back stitching when I start and when I stop. I'm going to sew it with a 1/4 inch seam, and I'm going to get the 1/4 inch seam by following the edge of my fabric with the edge of my presser foot. I'm chain piecing mine, and I'm back stitching when I start and when I stop each block. Lots of people don't, and it works for them. It has to, or they wouldn't do it. But my grandma scared me. She told me if I didn't back stitch, my stuff would fall apart. So if you're asking me, the answer is yes, I am back stitching. I'm sewing triangle to triangle, but you could lay one solid square face up, one solid square face down, draw a diagonal line, sew a 1/4 inch on each side of that line, and then cut the line that you drew. I don't teach this way because it seems to be confusing to my beginners, but if you want to do it that way, you get the exact same half square triangles when you're finished. Okay, I've sewn them. Now let's cut them apart. These are my scissors that came with a set of tools from Missouri Star, and it's kind of amazing. There's a cutting mat, 3 pairs of scissors, and a seam ripper. Almost like they've watched me sew, right? Okay. Cut them all apart. Now we're going to iron them. Now I'm not ironing mine open. I'm just really ironing them however they iron. I just want them to be flat. Now they are naturally going to one side because of the way that the block is and the way that I'm ironing them. But if you want yours to go to one side, be sure to do that. Or if you want them open, be sure to do that too. You iron however you want to, honey. This is my Snazzy Oliso iron, and it's pretty amazing. It's like half the size of a big iron, but not quite as small as a small iron, and I'm way into it. But listen, I did plenty of sewing before I started ironing, so if you don't iron, nobody's judging you. Not over here anyway. After we iron these, we're gonna lay our quilt block out to see if we can make it look like the one in the picture that's on our cheat sheet. And I'm just like y'all, the hardest part is deciding where each fabric goes. And I had laid mine out, or it had in my mind the design that I wanted when I cut my pieces. Now let's see if I can figure it back out. Y'all know by now, I'm gonna put a clip on the top of every one of my blocks that's at the top of my row. Then I'm gonna pick it up, put it just like this. And when I pick them up to sew them, I'm gonna know what block comes next because I'm gonna take this block and I'm gonna lay it just like this. And I'm gonna sew this pretty side to pretty side, straight stitch, 1/4 inch seam across here. And when I pull it out of my sewing machine, I'm gonna open it up and I'm gonna know that this block needs to be sewn at the bottom of this block. Otherwise, I would question whether or not it needs to go here or here. So I'm just making it easy. That's my system. If you have a different system that you want to use, I want you to use it. And if you have a system that we all need to know about, let me know in the comments. I'm gonna sew this row and the other 3 rows, and then we're gonna iron them. For the record, I absolutely am making up the names of my quilt blocks, so the quilt blocks that I'm sewing may be called something else. But quilt blocks have a whole bunch of names, and people just make them up, and I thought we should do it too. Mine are a little bit southern and a whole lot of fun, but if you want to call yours something else, that's what I want you to do. There's a new cheat sheet that posts every Friday on my Facebook page, and there's a link to get the printable. Click the link because there's a whole bunch of free printables in the free printable library, and that's the only way to get to it. And I want you to have all of the access to all of the things. I'm going to teach you how to sew every single quilt block, and you can make them in a bunch of different sizes. So let's pretend like you wanted them smaller or larger. The cutting sizes are on the cheat sheets for those blocks too. Okay, we've sewn them, and I've tried to put them back in order as I finished each row. But even if you've done that, make sure that they look the way you want them to look. If not, you can take it apart and fix it right now or after you iron it. But I'm not trying to iron and then iron again because I've done plenty of that. My sweet little lady's vocabulary is incredible. Olive this morning said, When I hold on to your arm like that, it makes it difficult for me to suck my thumb. I said, well, it would be difficult to suck your thumb if you're holding on to my arm like that. Difficult. Makes my mama heart happy though. All right, I've ironed them. Now I'm gonna lay them back out, make sure that my star, in fact, looks like my star, that my pieces are going the way that I want my pieces to go. And I think this is what I want. So what I'm gonna do is turn them over. I'm gonna pick this row up, turn it on top of this row, so that they're pretty side to pretty side. Now, I'm gonna line my seams up and I'm gonna stitch down this side. Straight stitch, 1/4 inch seam, back stitching when you start and when you stop. And make sure your seams meet. If you need some pins or clips, might be a good idea. And I want to know, what are you making with these quilt blocks? Are you making a whole quilt out of them? Are you putting these between appliques like my students? Or have you decided to do like me? I'm going to make a sampler quilt. I'm going to sew 12 of these together. There'll be 12 different quilt blocks, but it's going to be precious. I can't wait to see the ones that you're making. So be sure to email a photo to hometownquiltcompany@gmail.com. We all want to see. All right, we've sewn our block. Now we can take our clips off. Remember, those were just there to remind us that this was all the same side of the block, so we wouldn't have our pieces turned the wrong way. And we're gonna iron it. I've decided to take all of these sample blocks that I'm showing y'all and make a sampler quilt out of it. That's what it's called. It'll have 12 quilt blocks, and they'll all 12 be different because it'll be these 12. This is our Starlight block. There's a new cheat sheet that posts every Friday on my Facebook page, and there's a link to get the printable version. Be sure you click the link. There's tons of free printables in that printable library, but that's the only way you can get to it is through the link. Here's our Starlight quilt block. My name is Tammy. I'm your favorite sewing teacher, and I would love for you to come sew with me.